Has this ever happened to you? You have a great first appointment, great second appointment, your prospect is showing you all kinds of buying signs, so you set up your closing appointment, you get prepped, and then they no-show you. What happened? You forgot one thing: the influencer. A decision maker is seemingly obvious, right? They are the person that has the power to make the decision. An influencer is the person that might even appear to be a decision maker, but is more or less going to influence the dialogue with the decision maker, has a greater ability to influence the decision maker than, say, you, the salesperson, do. The way I'm going to connect with the influencers is to give them the apparent decision-making ability and give them priority, because generally, if they're not the decision maker on an item, they never get to be the priority. They're never the first in line or getting the attention they need. So I'm going to give them attention right out the gate, and that's how I'm going to win them over, is by giving them the attention that they're craving so badly as influencers, because again, they're not decision makers. And so oftentimes in most sales situations, they're getting neglected or completely ignored, and that's not a great feeling. So if I want to win them over, I've got to give them attention. I want you to think about like a boardroom of the C-suite executives. The CEO will largely have the final say in a decision, of course, but the CEO has strategically created this C-suite of his most trusted or her most trusted confidants that are there to help him make decisions, or him or her make decisions. While the CEO does have that final decision-making ability, it's critical for you as the salesperson to win over all of the influencers in the buying decision, because the influencers are going to be responsible for packaging up your pitch and either concurring with your ideas as the salesperson, or kind of creating doubt or disruption in the sales process, and then handing that to the decision maker. So it's imperative that we win over those influencers throughout our sales pitch, because they're going to be our biggest advocates in the final days of the sale. It's easy for you now to ignore those other folks in the room because you feel like, I just have to have a conversation with this person. But what happens when you do that is they feel neglected, and they start to get maybe down on you, or they start to not like you. I don't know what it is about him, but he just ignored me the whole time. He didn't ask me any questions. He didn't ask if I had an opinion on a matter, and I didn't like that. And they can put the final stamp on you not doing business together. And what I've seen some of the best producers do with this is, once they've identified who's decision maker, who's influencer, they actually start to do something that might be counterintuitive. Right? So you might see your intuition says, oh, I need to speak to this person, but counterintuitive. They start to direct all conversation to the influencers, because the decision maker, particularly on money matters, tends to think they're going to make a decision on a logical reason, but we all know in sales that they're going to buy on emotion. And typically the influencers can help a decision maker to recognize the emotion surrounding it. I don't want to pigeonhole influencers to that, because sometimes there are like logical battles to be won with influencers. But if I can win those influences over, I can, again, tip the scales in my favor. So they'll start to direct all of the conversation towards the influencers, or at least they'll be very mindful to include the influencers in every aspect of the conversation. Basically, I'm including them in the decision-making process beyond the decision maker and themselves. It makes them feel real important. Obviously, it's a good feeling. We all want to feel important, and the decision maker will like, at their core, generally, they will like that you are including their influencers in this decision-making ability, because they want them to feel good about whatever outcome's coming. And a lot of times, decision makers are people pleasers. They want to make sure that, especially in the financial world, they're trying to take care of their family, right? And most decision makers want their family to do well and be on board with this decision. And that's most of the time what leads to the I want to think about it or we need to talk it over type of situations, is because they feel as decision makers that their world of influence isn't all on the same page, and we got to get on the same page before we commit to anything. So obviously it's really important to understand the difference between influencers and decision makers, and starting in to master this skill of winning over influencers to help get quicker decisions. If you enjoyed this episode, or if you have any comments about today's episode, throw them in the comment section. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We are always pumping out great sales materials for financial advisors, or just in general sales people looking to get better at sales. If you like the video, of course, throw it a like. That always helps us. We'll see you here next time at Coffee for Closers. Thanks.